What's up, people? This is episode 6 of the Attunement podcast. Go us for getting to episode 6. I'm proud of that.
Let's go.
And today we're going to be me and Samek are going to be talking about our experience with the Art of Accomplishment Connection course, which is my favorite and most valuable emotional work thing, spiritual work thing I've ever done. And Samek tells me there's a new one in a week. And I often joke, but it's also not a joke, that there is no higher good I can currently do in the world than slightly influence people to make it slightly more likely for them to take the connection course. Sorry, Joe Hudson, if you don't want me to influence people to do that, but I'm just talking about my experience. I don't care if you take the connection course. Please take the connection course. It's so good. Oh my God. Samek. Well, okay, first I'll say I've literally done the connection course like 10 or 11 times. And one of the things I love about it is that I've literally only paid for it twice, but you can just rerun it with other people who have done it before for free. So I've rerun it for free like 8 times. And it's like, there's something nice about doing it in the cohort with other people for sure, but I still think most of the value is there running it with the videos yourself. And Samek, say whatever you want to say about you and the connection course.
Yeah, I took the connection course after Art of Accomplishment Masterclass, which we will also talk about in the future. But I did it after their 8-week-long course. So then it like immediately hit me so deep. I've taken it 5 times, I think, 3 times in cohort, 2 times with friends or like outside rerunning it with people. And each time it's been completely different because you're different. You answer the questions differently. It has an impact, and it's like, oh, there's this tool I can use every once in a while to basically open my heart. And it's like, fuck, this is awesome.
Sweet. And then the experiment me and Samek are running this podcast, pretty much the same as episode 4, which is what happens if we don't try to explain anything at all. And I'm already in conflict because I want to explain the structure of the course so that people are not confused. But I'm not going to do that because it's not what we're doing today. That's scary. There we go. And then I'm going to ask you first, just like, what's your experience? What's your review? What do you love about the connection course? Why have you done it 5 times? Take it away.
Yeah, it feels like the connection course makes it so I had like life has a bigger impact on me. I mean, like Michael Singer wrote this book called Untitled Soul, and he talks about like when you have an open heart, everything just like happens better. It's like when you're in love and like
I'm calling you out for explaining. You're allowed to make sense, but you're not allowed to try to make sense.
Oh no, this is so hard. I guess I'll just like explain what happens is like when I take the connection course, when I do other things, like when I'm taking ultra speaking or when I'm just going to work and doing other stuff, it has a larger, bigger impact because I feel more open and I let life impact me more than when I don't have my heart open. And the connection course, every time I've taken it, has given me the space to open my heart.
Sick. Normally we kind of go like, we rabbit hole each other, but I'm feeling inspired to go back and forth. So I'm just gonna jump in on that and be like, the joke I always make about the connection course, which I feel a little insecure about, is if someone tried to go back in time and make it so I could never take the connection course, I would try to kill them. That's not true of any other course I've taken. Masterclass, maybe.
I was gonna say, I feel like I would like jump someone if they try to stop me from dropping 6K on Masterclass.
Okay, yeah, I probably would include Masterclass. Connection course, I just think gives such fucking strong foundations to emotional work and spiritual work. It is insane. And the way I found it was I wanted to train to become a coach. And my friend who's a like licensed family therapist was literally like, take the connection course, it will give you half of the skills you need to be a therapist. Like it'll basically make you better than most therapists. And as I was training to be a coach and being a coach, once I took the connection course, I was like, oh, there's like all of the other coaching training I could do, or I can push the like take the connection course button over and over again. And this gives me this is almost always has better returns, both for getting better at coaching and for my life. Yeah.
Yeah. And riffing off of that, I had a friend who's been meditating for like 8 years. And for him, like it didn't have
explaining very slightly.
Yes. And meditation didn't have an impact. And he took the connection course and he was like immediately 2.5 weeks later, he was like, oh shit, I'm understanding the meditation concept so much deeper now.
Dude.
What the fuck? And I was like, yeah, man, relational stuff is fucking fire.
It almost makes me mad that I ever had to meditate before taking the connection course. It's like, what? Yeah. Fuck, dude. Man. And that makes me want to explain, because I want to explain to people why it's so good, but I'm not going to. Yeah, give me. I'm gonna cook in the wonder here and see what question I have for you. What is and was, but more was, what was uniquely valuable about the connection course to you? What did it give you that nothing else had given you before? Because you'd done a shit ton of meditation before you took the connection course.
It gives 4 new pointers to an open heart, is basically what
I'm fucking explaining. I'll freak out.
I want to explain so bad. The experience was I could bring experiments to my life and have a way to integrate it in conversation in a way that was deeply reflective.
Nice.
And every time I've taken the connection course, I've been running different experiments. I was taking the connection course the first 2 podcast episodes as well, and I was running different experiments and deepening into my understanding of them while reviewing it during the course material. And it's like, oh, so good.
And I just want to invite you to talk about it like fully from your head and your power, and maybe even fully explaining, like turning explaining up to 100 if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, if I turn explaining to 100, it's like connection courses, vulnerability, impartiality, empathy, and wonder. And just like sitting with each of those and experimenting with it has been such a gift. Like Wonder Week or Wonder Day is my favorite day. And I'm just like, every time I've done the Wonder Day, I've always like looked for ways I can incorporate wonder and how can I be in wonder throughout my day. And that's allowed me to flow with life so much better. I think that's all I got.
Sick. Yeah. Well, whatever. We're gonna go here because I want to go here. I think we have the wrong word for explaining, because I think the word might be justifying, because you just turned explaining up to 100, but it wasn't the thing at all that I think we're trying to not do. So maybe it's justifying. What do you think about that?
I think it's also justifying. It's like, I guess like it's like the thing I'm trying not to do when I'm explaining 100% is like, oh, I don't have to justify my explanations.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say.
Cool. So fuck our last experiment. I'm gonna intend to not justify it all, but I'm gonna explain as much as I want.
There you go.
Yeah. Cool. I like how you said like deeply reflect in conversation. There's this idea I have that's like fuck dude. All right, I'm turning explaining up to 100. Right, there's object-oriented programming, and I feel like the native object of the human operating system is human relationships, and the fundamental unit of that would be communication, and the most common form of communication being a conversation, right? You can also communicate through dance, but so like a conversation is almost I think almost the most meaningful unit of human experience. And so to transform conversations, to take conversations as a deep spiritual practice is the most natural seed to turn everything else into a spiritual practice.
Yeah. And what I'm getting from that is like, I know Joe Hudson mentions it as well. So it's like deep presence and connection feels very similar. And cultivating deep presence takes years. Like imagine like 10 years of meditating consistently to get to a point where you have this deep presence that you can bring everything to. And it's like you're training your mind to be able to bring deep presence to everything. But connection's always there. And orienting your mind towards the connection between, like, I guess I'm orienting towards the connection between me and Harry, creates like this deep presence immediately. And then learning to be attuned to the connection within ourselves and within others gives that like power of now vibes to everything you do. And it's so much faster.
Yeah,
it's so much faster than just presence.
It's so much more tangible for me. Like in this moment, the example I'm thinking of is like all the years I tried to meditate before taking the connection course. It's like, how can I enjoy doing nothing alone? And I'm like looking and I'm like, how can I enjoy doing nothing alone? Is it over here? Is it over here? Is it over here? It's like I'm in a big basement with the lights off and I'm looking for something. And then I was working at the summer camp and I ran an activity called doing nothing, and I did nothing with other people, and we just like sat in a circle and did nothing. There was like 10 of us, and it was awesome. Like it's so easily so enjoyable. And I don't know, I guess I'm just like, we're social creatures, and like being deeply present with myself when I'm being deeply present with you just feels so much easier to me.
Yeah. It's like how you see the world is based on your quality of listening, and the connection course gives you a better quality of listening to everything.
You gotta convince me on justify that one for me, sir. How what makes you say that?
Justify the listening thing?
Yeah, what you said, the quality of your listening determines how you see the world. What makes you I could assume I understand you, but what? Tell me, explain.
Yeah, so I guess I can explain with examples, which is like every time I hung out with my parents before connection course and masterclass, like I would project all the shit I could ever imagine onto them. So every time I saw them, my quality of listening was, these are my fucked up parents who like did all these things to me. And then after the connection course and masterclass and all of this emotional work, I would look at them as just people, and I would have an open heart and, you know, in wonder. It's like, oh, I wonder who they are. I wonder what they will say next. And then I would listen to them as they are in the present moment, and they would show up differently, and I would perceive them differently, and my reality would be different. And it's not only with them, it's like with everything, every activity, every person I interact with, where if I bring view to it, if I bring an open heart, I look at them as they are right now and not any expectations, and I'm listening to them fully, the reality that's unfolding for me is a very, very different and beautiful experience in comparison to having like it's like you're like looking at world with like pair of glasses, but also like other people are getting impacted by the pair of glasses you're looking at them through. Because if I'm like looking at you with judgment, I'm looking at my friend with judgment, then like they're going to feel it, and then they're going to start talking differently than if I'm looking at them with like, whoa, you're really wise and curious, and you're probably really smart too, and you're probably going to say really smart, curious things. They're going to feel that, and they're going to like be able to access that in themselves much better. So like the reality that's coming out as you're listening deeply just feels different.
Yeah. I'm appreciating the word listen, because we don't really have a word for that for sight, like see the truth clearly and intimately and without judgment. Like I don't know the sight word for that, but we have like listen, and people know what it's like to like listen much more deeply and clearly. Yeah. There's the Chinese direct translation of understand is to see clearly. Or like that's what the characters represent in those words. And like listen, I think in English has that connotation of like seeing clearly. And I've been vibing with Taoism recently, and I asked trained an AI on Taoism, and I was asking it some questions, and I asked it this question I loved today, which is, English translations of Taoism will say things like, don't resist, just accept reality as it is. And I'm like, why are you even saying acceptance? Like acceptance creates duality of acceptance and non-acceptance. And now we're again in duality instead of in the Tao. Like, what are we doing? But also, literally, because Tao Te Ching is the most banger book of all time. Literally the first sentence, however you want to translate it, is like, the Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao. Banger. Are you kidding me? No book has a more banger first line. I will never get over that line. But basically it's like, acceptance, acceptance is pointing towards the moon. It's not the moon itself. The moon itself doesn't go acceptance. It's just the moon. So, and bro, and something also that comes up for me with Taoism right now is like, we're not even talking about the connection course. And obviously we're talking about the connection course right now. And there's some line, I think it's like chapter 4, but it's like it's something like the teacher doesn't talk and everything is taught. And it's like, we're saying nothing about the connection course right now, and we're saying everything about the connection course. And just one other thing that's so alive for me with Taoism that I just want to share because I'm excited about it is another thing that AI said to me that I really liked is like, when this room becomes empty, it becomes useful to me. This room is useful to me because it is empty. When this room becomes empty, it becomes useful to me. When I become empty, what do I become useful to? I'm just like, fuck. But, and connecting that back to the connection course, I'm like, it makes me so empty. It connects me with Taoism so fucking hard in conversation, in the thing that I'm going to be in most of my fucking life, in non-duality, whatever you want to fucking call it. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the connection course is just listening. It's like learning how to listen deeply.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a good way and framework around being able to deeply listen such that your reality changes. And it was like an audio shanti thing. I think Tara Holly also mentioned it, which is like, when you're listening, like listen from the emptiness, or like, what would it be like to listen from the emptiness? Or like if you're empty inside. And that always, I feel like for me, creates a lot of space in my system to like fully take in what someone else is saying. In a way where like that's what I usually do in the podcast with like Harry's talking. I'm like, I am empty, I am receiving, and I get like nothing. It feels like I am intellectually not understanding a word he's saying.
Yeah.
And I'm understanding everything he's saying.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out. Woo!
What are you freaking out about?
You said you said listening in a way that allows your reality to change. And for me, I hear, well, it's kind of, again, the accepted things. It's like allows reality to change. It's like, wait, the nature of reality is that it changes. Like, so it's really just seeing what is. It's just seeing what is. And it's for yourself, you know, I pull up to the connection course and I'm like, I need to do this. And then I see myself for what I am. And I'm like, oh, whatever, like a tree, I naturally grow. Like a fucking squirrel, I'm gonna fucking do shit. There's no way I'm not gonna do shit. It's like in that most recent Art of Accomplishment podcast, Joe Hudson asked the guy, and he's like, what do you think you would do if you stopped being responsible for your choices? And he's like, nothing. And I'm like, whoa. And Joe's like, what about when you were 7 and you weren't responsible for your choices? And he's like, oh, I did a lot. And it's just like, I don't expect a squirrel to do nothing. It's kind of crazy to expect myself to do nothing, even when I'm empty, even when I don't try, even when I accept. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. And there's another thing that's like coming up for me. It's like the connection course material is kind of free. Like the podcast episode is there. And I sent it to my friend before he took the connection course.
Yeah.
He like listened to it all and he's like, this seems very useful. That's what he told me. This seems very useful. And he hadn't taken the connection course. And after he took the connection course, he's like, whoa, this is so much, like, this has so much more depth than I ever thought possible. And that's because like you only hear how much you like actually like experience and like can contextualize. So if you're listening to the podcast episodes where all the connection course material is already there and you're not putting it into practice in any way, you only get out of it like so little of like how much is there, like how much depth there is to get out of it. I'm like thinking about my friend who goes on retreats like every few weeks, every few months, I guess. Classic Zen, like 8 retreats a year. And after every retreat, he's like, now I get it.
Yeah.
It's like the Vipassana people were like 10 years in. After every retreat, they're still like, now I get it.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, the next retreat, now I get it. And it's like the same with me, like having taken the connection course 5 times. Like towards the end, I'm always like, now I get it. And then the next time I took it, I was like, oh fuck, I didn't get it. There's more things to get.
It's I love how you said that, and I agree so deeply. And you know, Joe Hudson has one, every epiphany is the innocent beginning of the next rut. So just that, but in other ways, like there are like probably infinite layers of depth of being in the Tao or of being in view, whatever you want to call it. And so yeah, I've done this 10 times, and basically every time or every other time I do it, I'm like, oh my God. I was like on some dimension, I was trying to be in view, and I can drop that, and now I'm just more in view. I'm like, fuck. Oh my God. My whole life, as far as I can remember, at least as an adult, I've been trying to make sense, and then I can just drop that, and then I make more sense. I've been like trying to express myself clearly, and then I just drop it, and then I express myself more clearly. I've been trying to listen, and then I just drop it, and then I listen more deeply. It's like, what the fuck? And then you're like, oh my God, I'm listening so much more deeply. And then you like do the connection course again, and you're like, oh my God, the deeper listening was still me just trying to listen. And there's even more to drop. What the fuck? And just that on like so many dimensions.
Yeah.
It's all these things that are just wasting energy that you can just drop, and they're everywhere. And they're really hard to see. And last thing I'll say on that is like, it is so cool to me that before I took the connection course, which I maybe like resonate more deeply with almost anything in my life, I listened to the Art of Accomplishment podcast, and I was like, this is good, but it's not crazy. And I'm like, how? I'm like, how to see it now, but to have not seen it then, to have like changed in a way I can't imagine is cool, but also almost scary. And also like, how could I have gotten my past self to see? Well, maybe I couldn't have. And like he naturally saw in his own time. Fuck. Yeah.
I want to talk about like Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. He has a chapter where he's just like talking about like, just keep your heart open. Just choose to be happy. The entire spiritual path is no matter what happens to you, you just have to keep your heart open and choose to be happy. Just choose it. You can keep it open. Just don't let it impact you. And like I'm listening to the book and now I'm like, oh, I know what that means because I took the connection course. Be in view, keep your heart open, let life impact you no matter what's happening, no matter you're going through a breakup, you're getting fired, no matter what happens, like don't close your heart. I know what that means now. But like, if I listened to like Untethered Soul like a year ago, and he's just like a whole chapter, like a whole entire chapter, all he's saying is the entire spiritual path is just keeping your heart open and just choosing to be happy. I'd be like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
This guy, what does this mean? But like having that experience of like manually like getting to the state of mind where my heart is open and seeing the difference, irregardless of what's happening in life. It's like, oh, this is like a thing you can actively do. It's like the self thing. It's like you're choosing to be in your big self. You're choosing to be in the state of okayness, regardless of what emotion's coming up. And I don't think there's a better way to learn how to do that than the connection course, at least right now, is my experience of like taking maybe like 20 courses, which is not that many courses, online courses.
Dude, I totally get what you're saying, and I'm pissed at that pointer of choose to be happy. Like we're talking about the moon, we're not talking about the finger pointing to the moon, or yeah, whatever. And so I get that he's pointing to the moon, and I'm like, dude, for our culture, for the culture we're in, that's a confusing pointer for almost everyone. Like unless you already see the moon quite clearly, that pointer is not going to help you see the moon. And that's a great way to put the connection course, which is, bro, it doesn't matter. Like it does not, as far as I can tell, like regardless of your ability to see the moon or be in the Tao, like these are good fucking pointers. Like these are such good pointers, and they've constructed the pointers in such a way that they are like self-destructing. Like it you point to the moon and the hand immediately evaporates. So you like can't even get fixated on the hand. And like a way I've put it before is like every other sentence, Joe Hudson or the course will be like, just focus on enjoyment. Just like focus on enjoying this moment. Like you don't need to do it right. And like choose to be happy. I do think it's an accurate pointer in some sense, but bro, that is confusing. That is easy to latch onto. That is easy to beat yourself up for. That is easy to repress your emotions with. But, and because there's the Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. So I'm not, this is not the connection course that I can tell you about is not the connection course. But bro, the set of pointers to the moon that the connection course is are extraordinary. And I think they actually have such a structure that they are self-reinforcing to bringing you back to the thing itself, the moon, rather than the pointers, which I think is actually, I literally do not know. Taoism comes to mind. I think Taoism has that quality, but Taoism, I don't know of a good online relational Taoist course for the American psyche, for the Western modern psyche that's way too tense, that is like way too rigid, that is way too judgmental. Like Taoism wasn't written specifically for that culture, and this course was. So that's so absurdly valuable. So absurdly valuable.
Yeah, I'm understanding what you're saying when like the finger points and dissolves are like disappears as soon as you look away. But I'm curious what you mean by that. I'm just like, I'm like, there's like an analogy in my head, but I'm like curious.
Yeah. So the most obvious is just like, you know, Joe Hudson's like, I'm taking the connection course, and it's like, okay, like be in wonder, and I'm like, ooh, wonder, and then it's 2 days later, I'm like, okay, I got to be in wonder, and it's like, I try, the thing he'll say is like, trying to be in view is not being in view, which is like, be in wonder, be like wonder. The pointer is not like wonder. And like, we're going for the moon, which is like wonder. We're not going for like wonder. Time to wonder. And almost any intellectual concept, I think, almost any intellectual concept can't have this self-dissolving quality. But right, the first sentence of Tao Te Ching, the Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao. That is the self-destructive concept. That is the self-destructive concept. That's saying no matter what concept, it is the concept that no matter what concept we have, it is not the thing itself. And you could say that maybe you read a book about spirituality and you just put that exact thing every other sentence. But then I'm like, you have the View Connection course, which puts an enjoyable version of that sentence every other sentence and physically embodies it in every exercise and every ounce of its formation, so that everything naturally brings you back to the moon instead of the pointer to the moon, so that everything naturally makes me less likely to beat myself up. Like, there's something I feel so safe in Art of Accomplishment work. I mean, even another way to say this is like, Art of Accomplishment pointing you back to your own authority rather than theirs. And I have a pattern, or I had a pattern at least, of being like, this is the fucking thing, this is gonna save me, I'm gonna do it perfectly, and then, oh, this thing's wrong about it, fuck this thing, I'm gonna go find a better thing. But Art of Accomplishment's structure and framework, I think, is naturally something such that even when I project authority onto the framework suggests for me to stop projecting authority onto it and like point myself back to my own truth. So like, kind of doesn't work. And like a really strong example of this is like, I've heard Joe Hudson say with gratitude practice, like almost every tool you can co-opt to beat yourself up with. And in a podcast about gratitude, Brett asks him like, so what if we use gratitude to like not feel something, to like avoid, to spiritually bypass? And Joe's like, oh, I think if you start being grateful to avoid your anger, your anger is just going to come up, and then you're going to end up being grateful for your anger. Like, it's naturally brings you back to the moon by its nature. Yeah.
I'm noticing you trying to justify.
Yeah, you had a. I agree. Thank you for calling me out.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I'm cooking in the wonder. It's like, what questions do I have right now? Another thing I've noticed is like, the connection course is online, and you can take it in person. And I've taken it in person twice out of the 5 times I've taken it, and it's crazy. It's like the attunement you can have with someone as you're going through the course material in person has a depth and intensity to it that like allowed me to learn so much more. And it also like, it feels so similar. It's like, I think like doing it over Zoom has like 80 to 90% of the potency, but then like doing it in person, that like 10%, it feels crazy. So if you have an opportunity to do it in person, I would highly recommend it as well.
So I'm just gonna go for something that feels alive, which is someone DM'd me on Twitter recently, and they're like asking me about the connection course, and they were considering. So the question I want to ask you after I say it is like, how do you view the connection course in terms of value in like the emotional work, spiritual landscape of like, you know, online courses or paying for therapy? And this dude was like, should I take the connection course or do like some IFS sessions? And I was like, I said a lot, but I was like, I would be I'd be shocked if someone could get more value out of $900 emotional work landscape other than taking the connection course. And what the thing basically came down to is like, if there's a modality and or a practitioner who your whole being is like, yes, like I'm so interested and excited about IFS, and I'm so interested and excited to work with this person. Like I just resonate with them so deeply. I'd be like, oh, fuck the connection course, like go for it. But like other than that, I'm like, bro, connection course, plus you can rerun it as many times as you want with people who've done it for free. Plus, and we haven't even gotten to this point yet, but we said it in past podcasts, like I do like 2 or 3 view conversations a day, which is the skill you learn in the connection course. Like I do 2 or 3 of those a day with people, and I'm weird and intense. So like that's my life right now. Like if you had a full-time job and other priorities, you probably wouldn't want to do that. But like maybe you'd have like 1 or 2 a week. And I find it, I didn't have the best therapist, but like I had some like decent therapists, and like I find it much more enjoyable and effective. And obviously it's free. And I also get a lot of value out of like doing the supporting other people part. Yeah. All I'm saying is insane value.
Yeah. And I'm gonna I guess like not add to it, but I'm gonna add to the point, which is every time I've taken the connection course, sometimes it feels like I have nothing and like shit comes up. But if I have something, like if I have a problem that feels like an impossible problem, like I'm doing something and I don't know what I'm doing that's causing all this drama in this friendship, or this work thing feels like an impossible thing, or like whatever problem I'm facing in life, there's like a feeling of it being impossible sometimes. And when I have a view conversation on that and someone's like blowing up my assumptions and like asking me questions such that I have like a different interpretation of how I can go about doing it or solving it, it feels like insane value. Like there's this guy on Twitter named like what's his name?
Chris Lakin.
Chris Lakin. And then he has this thing where like, oh, it's bounty based, you know, like I'll solve your impossible problem for like $3,000, $5,000, whatever. Give it a bounty. I'll question you and I'll solve it for you. I saw the tweet and I like read his stuff and I'm like, but that happens in every view conversation. Like problems just dissolve. I don't know what you're like trying to sell here, but like I've had so many problems just disappear on me because, or like not disappear, but change, transform, and over time like completely get solved. Just doing like 1 view conversation a week. And then like people are paying like $5,000 because they're like, I have anxiety about asking out girls, right? You do like 6 view conversations, it will change. I promise you, it will change. And like it happens for every problem. So it's not like problem specific. You just learn a skill set and join a community that allows you to solve all problems. Like that's how much value there is here. It's like how I would put it.
I connecting to that's how much value there is here. I really like, because something I like about what Chris does is like, wow, these people feel so stuck on these problems. They're literally willing to pay thousands of dollars to get them solved. And there just are ways to have those problems solved. And Chris is like, this is just totally a way you can do that. And something that I like less about that approach is like, what I find in my work and view conversations is like, I don't know what percentage, but maybe half the time there's a problem I want to solve, and then 10 minutes into a view conversation, I'm like, oh, it's not even a problem. like it doesn't need to be solved, and I have all of the benefits of possibly having solved it. Crazy one from Joe Hudson on that is, I love this one. Is like, he's like, you know, that elation that an NBA basketball team has when they win the championship, that's just them releasing the efforting, and you can just have that all the time if you just don't effort. But instead what people do is they say, I have to make $10,000 a month, and when I make $10,000 a month, then I will allow myself to feel that freedom and joy and elation. And then they do for 1 hour, and then they go, okay, now I'm going to start my next business. And then
it's like the happiness you get from the goal is because you no longer have any goals left. It's like, oh yeah, I accomplished my goal, and then I can relax. And the moment the next goal comes to your mind, then you're like starting to try again. And then all the bliss and happiness you got, it's like fucking sucked out of it. It's like, okay, once I accomplish that goal, I can have it for another 2 seconds, maybe. And then I'll go back to suffering again.
There's a banger image analogy in this book, The Easy Way to Stop Smoking, which is smoking is like putting on tight shoes so that when you smoke, you can get the relief of taking off tight shoes. And then as soon as you're done smoking, you put on the tight shoes again. And it's like, that's what a lot of striving is. Yeah.
I also do want to add, like, the first time I took the connection course, I was like pretty emotionally burnt, and I didn't get that much out of it. And the second time I got so much out of it. And I'm noticing, like, there's a lot of people I talk to from the community where, like, the first time they take it, some people get a lot out of it, some people don't. And it really depends on like how vulnerable you were when you showed up. But the material is there. Like, that's like the benefit is like, oh, you can see like a glimpse of it, and then you can like keep doing it and deepening into the practice.
Yeah. And when you say that, I just like, I don't know if people, if this is whatever, I'm going to say this, which is like, bro, if you look at the connection course and you take the connection course or whatever, and you're like, this fucking sucks, like, fuck everything I just said. Like, I'm so excited for people to take the connection course, and like, I don't actually want to convince anyone, because if you're taking the connection course only because I or someone else said to, and not because you're actually drawn to it, then like I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't get that much out of it. Like, I would only want someone to take it if they actually resonated with it, or what people seem to get out of it. Yeah.
Exactly that. Like, I was talking to this kid who just took the last cohort, and he was like, he was so excited for it, and he got so much out of it. And he was setting up view conversations with like 4 or 5 people. And then he set up a view conversation with me, and our view conversations were banger. And then he kept telling me, I was like, I talked to all these other people, and it seems like they didn't get much out of it. I don't really understand how that's the case. And I'm like, bro, he spent a month experimenting on view before you even started the course. Of course you got a lot out of it. Like, of course you got a lot out of it. And a lot of people don't put in the effort, and you get out what you put in. Like, that's definitely like the case for this course.
And I want to push back on that pointer a little bit of like, some people don't put in the effort, because I want to say, like, I would say something more like, some people aren't deeply called to this at this point in their life, and like, there's this idea I have that's like, you can have anything you want as long as you want it, but you don't choose what you want.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really a question of like, how much do you genuinely want and resonate with this thing, but not in like how much do you want it? Like, do you want it? Like, do you want it bad? It's like, it's just like, oh no, like, how much do you happen to want it? Because if there's like something else you're drawn to and calling you, that like you want more, that you would naturally put more of your energy into, like, also fuck this, like why would you not listen to that?
Yeah, I'm mostly like, this is what I'm thinking of. Like, a lot of the value is not only in the course, but in the reflection of the course. And if this is like the thing that you're most interested, you'll naturally be like gaining insights throughout the day around the material. Like, you're taking a shower and you're having shower thoughts. And like, as you gain that, like because the pointers are so potent, when you're reflecting on it in that level all day for the 2.5 weeks, you get like fucking juicy amount of things out of it. But if you're like, shower thoughts are like, oh yeah, I got to do this for work and this and that, and like work is the most important thing, and you're taking the connection course, you'll get less out of it, but you still get quite a bit out of it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Anything else there for you for the connection course? I feel like there's more for you.
I just love the connection course. It's so good. I want to differentiate it from the masterclass too, bro. I'm like, can we just hype up impartiality? Like, oh my God. Just to have impartiality explicitly be part of the framework, I think, is one of the deep insights of the course that is hard to find so explicitly elsewhere, at least for me. And
can you explain what you understand as impartiality?
No agenda. What's my agenda right now? My agenda is to sound smart and likable to you and other people who are listening. And then just saying that, it's like easier to drop it. And then dropping it, it's like, oh, I'm still here and I'm still speaking. Huh, that's interesting. But yeah, the lack of grasping maybe. But well, I'll just go with non-agenda. Man, I just love impartiality. I'm not sure there's anything else to say. I love impartiality, and to get to practice impartiality with such great pointers relationally with someone else who's also practicing impartiality, crazy. And to get to experience the attention of someone who's asking me questions impartially, also just like, wow. Basically just that.
I want to also add, like, the best therapists or coaches I've had just have a really deep feeling of unconditional love, and you're getting this like unconditional love on you as you, like, I don't know, if you share something vulnerable, it's like you share your shit and then someone's unconditionally loving that shit, the shit transforms. Like, it's like manure for the flower. It's like the way that I'd explain it. And I don't know, you learn how to give unconditional love, like awareness, and listen with unconditional love through this course. And it's a gift that can be priceless.
And to shit on what I would guess most therapists are like. I think most therapists are like quite partial, and like trying to help people and trying to fix them in a way that's extremely counterproductive and condescending, and like not trusting, and creates dependence. And I hate that shit. And so I think that's another reason I like having few conversations more than like talking to most therapists. I think there are lots of very skilled therapists who don't do that. But I think if you go on BetterHelp, I think you're going to get a partial therapist who tries to fix you. And you're going to be like, why do I not like therapy? And it's because someone's trying to fix you and that feels like shit. Also, a million other possible reasons. That's just my thing. But yeah, just to get someone to be impartial with me is just so fucking nice. Yeah. Okay, and I think my last question for you is like, what if you never took the connection course? And the masterclass kind of so like let's take out the masterclass too, but focused on the connection course. Like, what is something you think would have taken you so much longer to see that you're like so glad you see?
It's a hard question to answer because it feels like everything, but more so like just unfolding. Trusting the process, not efforting is like the thing, right? Like I feel like a lot of non-efforting was already happening and I was witnessing it happen, and I was also trying to grasp it. Like I'd gone to a bunch of meditation, I'd done 3 meditation retreats over the course of 6 months, and I was like exploding emotionally, and like all of this thing, like all the trauma and shit was coming out, and I was like watching it like transform as it was being shown to the world, and it also felt disgusting because I'm like, bro, I'm like projecting trauma onto people. This feels real shit. And then like you got masterclass in AOA, and it's like, oh, I don't have to do that. I can just process this in spaces where it gets processed way faster. It gets metabolized way quicker in like this connection, this unconditional love container that I didn't have access to before. So having access to those things, I think it just sped up the process of non-efforting, but also of digesting. I think in the book Listen by Patty Winfrey, she calls it like emotional projects. So there's like all these emotional projects that you gain access to if you're doing deep meditation, because you're like, oh, this is fucked up. Feels like shit. This is another like emotional spike. So it's like all the ways you get triggered. You get like more and more awareness of your triggers, and then you want to process it. And then having the space is like this like acid vat that like digests the food for you like so much quicker, like solves the emotional problem and like does the emotional project way quicker and safer than like I'm taking this out into the world. Like I meditate, have all this emotional trauma come up, and then I go to work and I project my dad onto like all my coworkers. That feels like shit. Probably the people I'm projecting it onto, it feels like shit for them. So for me, it was like not only like the non-efforting, but also like digesting emotional projects. Like both of those things I got, and also I'm continuously getting as I'm part of this community that like I can always ask for a view conversation in.
I'm complete. Anything else for you?
No, that was good.
Cool. Take us out, sir.
This was a little bumpy because of the experiment at the beginning, and I'm happy with that because that was really fun. So we're going to continue doing this for as long as we enjoy it.
That's our promise to you. If you have any questions about the connection course and you want to hear more about my experience, feel free to DM me on Twitter and ask me, or tweet at me and ask me. Samek, is that also true for you?
Yes.
Cool. That's also true for Samek. Wow. I feel really good. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you have a good day. See you later.